Oh, look at the size of that thing!
This case comes from Paranormal Discovery, a YouTube channel focused on haunted places, Bigfoot reports, and unexplained creatures. On April 17, 2025, a YouTuber entered Dagger Woods in Nova Scotia, a forest connected to one of the area's darkest legends. A man once killed his wife with a pearl dagger and ran into these woods never to be found again. Locals claim his soul was taken over by something evil that never left. The forest has a long record of strange accounts.
Is the story true?
Tell no tales.
Whoa, what are you gonna do if I tell your story? There was a man who killed his wife with a dagger, and he ran off into this woodland. People say that his soul was taken over by an evil entity. Where is that evil entity right now?
Is that a new, spirit or an entity? The hook mix?
Hello?
Someone's standing there! I know it's out here. Something is in my vicinity.
Look at that. It's got a round head, and it's standing about 15 feet off the ground, or floating. What is that?
No! No!
People nearby have reported hearing an unnatural howl, not fully human, not fully animal, moving through the trees for years. Some think it is the killer's spirit. Others believe whatever he became in those woods is something much worse than a ghost.
We are back here at Dagger Woods. This is one of the most severely haunted forests. If you're a paranormal addict down here, like I am, if you're obsessed with the stories here, you would know that Dagger Woods is one of the most haunted. And it's not just because it's any ghost story, and I'll get into the history more, but the more we come here, the more I actually feel like this is Wendigo territory. If I'm being real with you guys, this is one of the most scariest and most disturbing spots I've ever been to here in Nova Scotia now. Solo, and go and pitch a tent somewhere and just kind of chill for a bit, possibly make a bonfire. It did rain on the way here. We could actually pick up some dry wood and, find ourselves some nice wood for a bonfire. Ain't that right, Key? What's up, baby? You getting nervous? Good girl, yeah. Yeah, look at you, look at you. Yo, I gotta show you guys your little sweater here. I'm gonna put your hood on, okay? Look. Oh my God. You baby Nala girl, huh? You baby Nalas? You baby Nalas? We're gonna go catch some Wendigos, okay? We're going Wendigo hunting. So right now marks the start of the Dagger Woods path to this path once before, because we were going to a different side of Dagger Woods where we kind of entered through the corner and got into this weird swampy area, and we drove way down there. So yeah, we're back on a camping trip, got the tarp, got food. So we got a few hours until it gets dark. So we're gonna find a good spot, set up camp. They say that you can hear howling of a man or a creature. No one's ever figured out what it was or what it is. Through the air, you can just kind of feel an ominous and kind of oppressive vibe, and it's creepy, it's disturbing. People say it's a man, people say it's a spirit, but also people say it's a Wendigo or some sort of creature. But the story, man, the story's so crazy. He actually murdered his wife in cold blood with a pearl dagger, ran off into Dagger Woods. He ran off into this exact forest to never be seen again by the locals, by his family, by anybody. They hear this howl, this cry, this screech, and I think we've actually heard this man before, but they say that it's that guy. Some people, I don't know whether this is true or not, his spirit was taken over by an entity in this forest already. He became this weird transforming creature, like a skinwalker or a Wendigo or something. They say his soul.
He reaches the area in late afternoon with his dog and sets up camp close to the tree line. As night begins to fall, the Spirit Talker app on his device gives two phrases without input, a warning involving a woman and a reference to a life being taken. Soon, after a low, stretched-out howl moves through the brush around camp.
I'm here for the Dagger Woods howler, the Heidi Hinder, whatever it's called. Okay, so here is the bridge. I think I'm gonna actually go a lot farther up as the night goes on, but hey, some people over there. Whoa.
I'm afraid to talk.
You're afraid to talk?
There.
So way up there, to way over there. That's funny. That is hilarious, man. Those ATV riders are probably like, what is this guy doing ripping up a Jeep in here? How many times I've run into people in the absolute middle of nowhere. I've taken this Jeep into like random ass places. I don't care. Like, I don't care what these people think. I'm here for the ghosts.
Torment.
Torment. Were you tormented here? Is this the Dagger Woods howler? I hope I do not get stuck in this. Okay, we're gonna give it a go.
Resentment.
Woo! Yeah, boy! We made it! I might take a hike. Get down there. You wanna take a hike, Key? You wanna take a hike? Yeah. This is the farthest I've actually brought the Jeep up here. So what I'm gonna do is actually go for a hike, see if I can find a spot within the forest itself.
I'm touching your hand.
Well, here we are. About an hour later. It's about 6 o'clock. Rain started picking up. I got this up just in time. Yeah, you know what? We set up here where we parked the car. And it's pretty gonna have an issue with is gathering firewood. It's probably damp and too far long gone and waterlogged at this point to create any sort of fire. Even the ground here is a little bit mushy, but at this point, I am not getting hit by any sort of water. Yeah, not bad. Not bad, not bad. It's creepy out here though, man. Like, it really does feel like you're being stalked. Yeah, she's shaking a bit. So as of right now, it is 6:30. Believe it or not, I have 6 hours to last in this whole entire wilderness that we call Dagger Woods. 6 hours, man. I have to make it till midnight.
Later that night, an aggressive noise starts circling the area. His spirit bell, a small tool meant to detect nearby presences, turns on by itself. A steady metallic squeaking then comes from somewhere in the shadows with no visible source anywhere nearby.
It's beautiful. What the? What is that? Holy shit, holy shit. What is that? It's an aggressive dog. Hello? Someone there? What the hell? Whoa! It legitimately is echoing through the trees right now. What the hell? That came from in here. There's something moving, like in. That's weird, man. Okay. That was so weird. Hey, Key. Hello? Somebody out here? I'm kind of just listening right now because I'm hearing, like, maybe they're coyotes, but like I'm hearing it circling in through here and then at times coming from the other end of the car. If there's a spirit here with me, can you touch that device? If there is any spirit here with me, or in fact, if the Heidi Hinder is here, or the Dagger Woods howler, there's a story. What is that? What is that? Listen to that. Hear that squeaking?
He takes a night photograph aimed at the tree line. When he checks the picture, a large figure can be seen standing about 15 feet above the ground. It has a perfectly round head and no features he can identify. It is missing from the next photo taken only seconds later. He walks toward the place where the figure had appeared.
On a night shot. Okay, this is gonna scare you guys. This is really gonna scare you guys. What I just captured may have been the clearest humanoid. The things that I've been seeing with my own eyes, I just caught it. What the hell is that thing, man? What the fuck? I was taking night shots like that way, kind of like where we came from the beginning. The car is facing that way. The humanoid would have been right there. Check this out. Standing tall. What in the f is that thing? Look at that. It's got a round head and it's standing about, I don't know, 15 feet off the ground or floating. Like, what is that? What the hell? And it's not in the next one too. That makes no sense. That really doesn't make any sense. Holy shit. That is physically round. Like, for real, that's not a mistake in the photo. Like, that's legitimately round. It has like a physical form right now, and it's standing. Hello? What the Whatever it is standing right up there where it was.
Without warning, a sharp pain strikes his chest and drops him to the ground. When he stands again, he notices something on his face. Both of his eyes appear to be bleeding, even though there are no visible cuts anywhere on his face.
I'm gutless. Are you down here? Okay. So round 2, the vibes are even more sketchy. Can you make a sound? Can you mimic that? I mean no harm. I think my eyes are starting to like see stuff that isn't really there, or that aren't really there. What the hell? There's something in front of me right now. Whatever you are, you gotta leave me alone. I feel it. I freaking feel it. Are you the entity? The humanoid that I just saw? What the fuck is that? Hello? Oh. Oh. Ah. Ah. Oh. Ooh, that pain just dropped me. I think something spiritual just attacked my chest. Oh. Something just knocked me over. I just started tearing. Something literally knocked me over. Who are you? Guys, I'm literally about to tear right now. Oh, something just, like a pain just hit me. I take that as a spiritual warning. Oh my god, what the f***'s on my face? What is that? What is that? Is that blood? No way. I was tearing over there. Did I just tear blood? We gotta go right now. We gotta go right now. Whatever you are, you have to stay here. That's a first. I literally just tear blood. No, don't turn this down. That's blood. That's like blood from both sides of my eyes. Now, I don't know if I was crying out blood. Is there a cut right there? I can't see. I'm getting out of here. I'm getting the f*** out of here. Something is here and it just attacked me. It's gonna be another one of those nights. I'm gonna throw everything in the back and get the f*** out of here. Like, I'm not cut there. Or am I cut there? Okay, time to get the f*** out of here. I found her shaking back there, and I don't want her scared or nothing.
He grabs his dog, packs his equipment, and leaves the woods immediately without looking back again. The round-headed figure, 15 feet above the ground, the device responses without prompting, and the unexplained bleeding all remain without a clear explanation. Some viewers compare the figure's size and shape to descriptions often found in Bigfoot reports, though no one can say for sure what it was in the dark woods alone. What do you think was standing in those trees that night? This unsettling footage was recorded by Igor, a man living far inside Russia's remote Siberian forest. His cabin, surrounded on every side by thick wilderness, was used to the normal sounds of night. But over the past few days, he'd been hearing something completely different, strange, deep growls carrying from the nearby trees. Igor was familiar with ordinary wildlife calls, but these noises were unlike anything he had heard before. That night, the sounds returned stronger and more persistent than before. Determined to find out where they were coming from, he grabbed his night vision camera and stepped into the darkness. What he recorded would disturb even the bravest person. Past the tree line, a dark figure appeared watching from the cover of night. At one point, it seemed to crouch in the grass, staring directly at him as if it could see clearly without light. When the figure moved closer, Igor backed away and returned to the safety of his cabin. To this day, the encounter remains unexplained, leaving only questions and speculation about what truly prowled the forest outside his door. A hiker traveled far into the woods recording his trip on camera, a video later posted to a channel called Bigfoot King. From the start, his discomfort was obvious, as if he sensed something concealed among the trees.
Where are you? Straight up front. Straight up front. Right? Straight up front.
At one moment, he spotted what looked like a normal tree trunk, but when it moved and a branch cracked, the truth hit him. His camera trembled as fear took over. He tried to steady his hand for a better view, but the figure was already moving back into the thick foliage. Its size and presence left little room for doubt. Overcome with fear, the hiker decided leaving the woods was safer. A series of huge footprints appeared in the ground. They did not resemble any animal tracks he had ever seen before. The sheer size of the prints made him stop immediately, trying to understand what could have left them. One track stood out clearly. It was enormous, almost human-like, but much too large. In March 2025, a group driving through a remote section of road noticed something strange far away. From inside their vehicle, they took out a phone and started filming.
¿Qué vas a comentar, Iván?
Ahí hay un gigante allá arriba en el cerro.
¿Qué?
Un güey muy alto, gigante, cabrón.
A la verga, sí es cierto, güey. Ya lo vi. Neta.
The video shows a huge figure standing on a ridge, rising in a way that looked much too large to be an ordinary person. The short clip quickly spread online and triggered intense debate. Some viewers claimed it was evidence of Bigfoot, or even a real-life giant, while skeptics said it might simply be an optical illusion, a perspective trick, or edited footage. Whatever the answer, the strange sight continues to drive speculation, leaving people divided over whether the camera truly captured something extraordinary. Interestingly, another person described a similar incident while riding a bike through John Bryant State Park in Ohio in July 2021. After a light rain overnight, they came back and found trees knocked down and branches spread across about 150 yards of trail, fully blocking the path. What made it even more unusual was that no other areas of the park seemed damaged, only that one section. Both cases have left people wondering what could have caused that kind of destruction, fueling speculation about whether something stranger was responsible. Mark Anders recently recorded a strange image with his trail camera. The device had been set inside dense brush, pointed toward a small clearing when a huge figure appeared. The creature in the picture looked like what many people would call Bigfoot, wide-shouldered, covered in hair, and moving with a bent posture. Based on the lighting, the photo was probably taken either early in the morning or late in the afternoon. Since the figure was moving, the image has blur, hiding the smaller details. Still, its outline and proportions do not look human, making the photo especially interesting. A man was recording deep in the Georgia mountains when he noticed a large, brown, hairy figure walking upright. It moved calmly and steadily, almost as if it belonged there. The creature did not seem to notice him as it passed through the trees with quiet purpose. For a few seconds, the camera zoomed in. The footage is short, but enough to raise one question: was it really Bigfoot? Charles, a YouTuber known as Son of a Bear, spent that summer living off-grid in the Blue Ridge Mountains. His camp was simple, a tent set up on a wide 100-acre property. For weeks, everything stayed quiet and uneventful. But on July 18th, that calm was broken.
There's one over here. Looks like it's holding some water. I think it's time to go.
While exploring the land, he was shaken by a chilling, gut-wrenching scream carrying through the woods. Fear hit fast and he hurried back, heart racing, unsure what or who might be out there. The property was private, which made the source of the scream even more disturbing. He notified the owner, but no explanation was ever discovered. To this day, the sound remains a mystery. And if that left you uneasy, the next story may disturb you even more. A hiker was walking through a forest in Slovakia when he filmed this unsettling moment. Something did not feel right, so he swept the area with his camera. After zooming in, he noticed a large figure standing nearby. He ran away immediately and did not stop. Even now, he still questions what he saw. In dense woods, distance and shadows can change the way things look. Without a clear view, it is easy to misjudge size and shape. So what do you think was actually there? A trail camera was set up in a remote section of forest to capture local wildlife. While looking through the footage, the owner noticed a deer walking peacefully in front of the lens, but the deer was not alone. Behind it, a large, hairy figure stood upright, remaining nearly motionless at times. The figure moved slightly, just enough to prove it was alive. In the background, there also appeared to be a branch structure arranged deliberately, almost like a basic shelter. What do you think this camera really captured? The YouTube channel NVTV is known for bold trips into the wilderness. Recently, the creator returned to a location in British Columbia that he had explored earlier in the spring. At that time, deer moved quietly behind him without him even realizing it. Now covered in snow and locked in freezing cold, the valley felt different, as if it held secrets only the wilderness could reveal. He began listening to the forest differently, focusing on sounds beyond normal animal activity.
And there's even one spot, I videotaped it all, there's a spot where a handful of these trees were just, boom, thrown down in one stack 2-3 times. So the top was snapped off, but it was left by a thread of bark and it was hanging. The top was snapped completely off and gone. And then another chunk of about 3 or 4 feet of it was broken off again. And then the base of it was mulched, like psh, psh, psh. It wasn't broken clean enough for it to lay down. It was still standing. I was almost tempted to cut that off if I had a handsaw. And the strength it took to snap these trees off, a human being couldn't have done it.
He noticed rare, quick noises that hinted at hidden movement. Every sound in the woods pulled him farther in, where ordinary things quickly became unbelievable. A trail camera was mounted high in a tree, untouched, until the forest suddenly seemed to come alive.
Remember this spot? I was in this spot early. I was standing stump back there behind me about 25 yards, and those deer got up and were walking around directly behind me. I didn't have a clue they were there. I'm back home. I am somewhere between Squamish and Parliament in British Columbia.
Loud, explosive impacts slammed against the timber, far too forceful for any person to make. The air was completely still, yet each crash carried a heavy, unseen, deliberate force. Something had torn through the clearing with strange power. Thin trees were snapped cleanly at chest height, showing no marks from claws, teeth, or antlers.
What a mass, eh? It's just really weird.
That's hard to stop.
Look at this, it's snapped twice. Snapped twice, and there's no antler marks on it. Whatever, is what it is. This little group of trees looks like they're all just grabbed together. These ones right here. Look at that, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them in a bouquet.
Across an area roughly 50 feet square, the woods were damaged and twisted, as if an invisible giant had pushed through and vanished. The entire section was a wreck, destroyed in a way that made no sense. Whatever moved through left no obvious tracks, but the destruction spoke for itself. It was deeply unsettling, impossible to dismiss, leaving the feeling that something strange had passed through. The timber looked torn apart, as if raw strength had forced its way through. Bark was stripped and ripped in deep, rough sections.
I don't know, another week and a bit, I'm really going to start picking up. I'll probably be hunting every single day in the mountains. I'm going to explain to you guys and show you guys the video I took on that last trip. Not the hunting videos, the moose videos. But explain to everybody how when you are in the woods hunting.
The scene carried aggressive energy, suggesting something extremely large, but still hidden. He knew this was not a normal animal or person.
But that little branch I balanced in there to keep it on an angle when it was spun around, if it was done by antlers. Whatever, it wasn't done by a bear, there's no teeth marks on it, there's nothing to lose sleep about, right? So I moved the camera, and then we went on a big, long, deep timber hunt. Not too far from the Peace River.
The damage was old, yet the tall grass showed the scale of what happened. One huge tree had been violently pulled from the ground. Its top 16 feet were broken off and thrown more than 40 feet across the path.
And then we carried on, went down the trail, got to where the trail camera was. I put a stick behind it all the time. It was spun right around, about a quarter of the way around the tree to face the next tree beside it. We were the only ones in there since the camera had been set. Well, that sucks. You know, there was 2 or 3 videos of myself on there.
This unbelievable destruction points to a raw force that feels almost impossible to understand, leaving the forest disturbed. When whole trees are snapped like small sticks and heavy logs are thrown like baseballs without one clear footprint left behind, it makes you stop and think. What kind of hidden giant do you think could cause this kind of wild damage and then simply disappear? A group of friends were preparing a campsite in an unknown forest when the camera caught movement among the trees.
I don't see anything.
Look at the size of that thing!
A tall, dark figure appeared between the trunks, walking upright. Its size and thick hair did not resemble any known animal. Stunned by what they had just witnessed and recorded, the group quickly rushed back to their car. When camping in remote woods, staying aware and leaving early can make a major difference. So if you were there, would you stay to investigate or leave immediately?